Good
What's up
afternoon,
with
good
it?
evening. Yeah, here we go. Another
So,
episode,
yeah,
184. Yeah,
yeah, we in there. What's
it's
happening?
it's real, man. It's real. Y'all know what it means when they say it's real, but y'all, we got a different, meaning of it's real today because it's
Yeah,
real estate. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
Right.
We got some real estate experts on the show and some people who gonna give y'all some information today. So that's why y'all see these new beautiful faces on the screen. So,
new faces.
yeah, new faces. So
You
y'all,
need new peoples.
but let me give the audience a preference, a preface right quick. Y'all be on y'all best behavior today. We got guests, so
Got
don't come in
guests.
here acting up and getting out of line.
If
Let's
you
keep
if
it.
your feet stink, don't take your shoes off.
Well,
You don't have
well,
to, right?
definitely don't do that.
If
But
you got
if you're,
holes in your socks, don't do it.
well, if you,
Like,
hey, if, as long as you're at home, do it. Do what you want to do. Just be
right. They
comfortable.
at home watching. We don't care what you do with your feet, your socks, your shoes. You do
Do
you.
not want to pull up with your feet smelling like
Yeah.
onions. I'm saying.
If you stink, that's your business. You're at your house. Just tune in and ask questions and let us get this content to you. So we appreciate you tapping in with us. Like I said, we got an episode full of information. We got two great guests joining us today. So we want to just jump right in and check on our people. Y'all already know we started off. We got to make sure everybody's good before we get going. So we got to start with the ladies. So we're going to start with Miss Neff. Miss Neff, how you doing today?
Hey guys, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, appreciate you
You
coming
doing
on.
you doing
Thank
all right
you.
mentally, emotionally,
I'm
physically?
Right.
How
doing
we doing?
good. I'm doing good. Though it is late here. I'm on the East Coast. So yeah, I'm doing
Yeah,
good.
late.
That
About
she
9, almost 10 o'clock, huh?
she always traveling from what I see.
Well, that's
She
good.
always
Yeah.
That means business is moving. So we
yeah.
appreciate you joining us today. We appreciate you taking out the time and staying up a tad bit late to join us. So we appreciate that for sure.
Hanging out. It's fire over here, so you'll feel warm. All right, you'll be all
Thank you guys for having me on.
No problem at all. And let's clarify this. When I have people with special names, your name is special. It's not a regular name. Can you make sure that you say it for us so we can make sure that it's said correctly?
Yes, it's sequoia, just like the tree. If you're familiar with the sequoia tree or sequoia park, or these days the Toyota Sequoia. So
Mm.
Sequoia Neff.
Okay.
right.
That's what I figured it was, but you know what? I've been in education before, so I tread lightly when I see names that I know I maybe haven't seen before or seen in a while. So I want to make sure that it's said correctly because your name means everything to you.
I
Right.
appreciate that.
No
Yeah.
problem at all. All right, Miss Green, talk to us. Let us know how you feeling today, mentally, physically, emotionally. How we doing?
I am amazing. Like no complaints at all. God is good.
Mm.
Life is good. Just yes, I am excited about this episode tonight and let's do it. Let's make it do what it do.
All right. Now that's a country girl right there.
That's right.
I did that. That's all right. That's all right with me. That's a country girl right there. Right there. Right there. Yeah, that's all right.
All right, all right. And the lady of the panel, you know what I'm saying, the fire session queen,
Forehead.
Miss Trish Michelle, how you doing today?
Forehead.
One day, Benji. One
One
day.
day you gonna pull up to the shop and get a discount.
I'ma just walk past and trip you and leave. That's what I'm gonna do. And you're gonna be so excited, like, hey, what's up? I'll just boop. And
I
then
mean,
like you just like bop, bing, bop, bam, and I'm just leave.
it's just abusive.
But
Just
anyway, guys,
You might
I'm
not
just,
even see them.
yeah, you know what? I got a
Ooh.
little storm. Are you
Oh,
down
shots
there, Benji? Are
fired.
you down there?
Shots fired.
You
you know
know,
what? I am up to this already. But you can't help it though.
I know you back behind that counter. Sometimes I can't see you. I gotta look. You back there? It's okay.
I like y'all tonight. I like y'all. I like y'all.
I'm doing great. I'm having good time. Been off work for a minute. Everything's good with my knee. I'm going back next week. So, ask me how I'm doing next Tuesday. No, but no, I'm good. I'm good around here. I ain't got no complaints. Blessed, thankful, everything good. So yeah.
All right, that's what's up. All right, Benji Banks, the man, the brand. Talk to the people, man. How you doing today?
I mean, I don't know how I should feel tonight with all this abuse surrounding.
Hey, you started it.
I mean, but I'm straight, man. I literally have no complaints, man. It's like I'm in this space where it's like everything is moving quick. It's like the things I was praying for last year, the year before last, for like a year, and and God is saying, manage this, manage this, manage this, manage this, get your rest, manage this. And I'm enjoying that. So I appreciate that.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Listen, I have no issues, no complaints, no nothing, man. I'm just happy to be here. I enjoy every day that I get up every morning, and yeah, when you're my height, life is good. Life is good.
I'm throwing jokes out there. Okay.
I'm just saying.
He's just speaking facts on his life.
I'm just saying it just facts on my life. When I go to the grocery store, it feels good when you walk by people and they say, "Excuse me, sir, how tall are you?" That's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. It's a good feeling for people to ask that.
Benji?
I mean, listen.
Like I feel like Benji need to be doing like this, like ducking.
You know what happens? They walk by me and they be like, "Man, you just look like money." You know that?
See, that's why we didn't even really hear what you said.
Just saying.
Wait, King, you didn't tell us how tall you were.
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't tell us how tall you were.
Oh, I'm 6'5".
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Benji can talk his talk. I'm just saying, Benji can talk his talk.
I mean, I can't help it. I was, 5'9".
The words that come out of your mouth is about this.
Are tall. You hear me? They strike a mighty blow.
Lord.
All right, y'all. Well, we got some interesting things that we want to talk to you all about today. But before we jump deep into the subject of the real estate, we want to make sure that we give you an opportunity to get to know the guests that we have before you today, because they're just not just your run-of-the-mill real estate people. Like, they got a lot of great information, a lot of great insight, and they've been in the game. So that's why, when we pull people to put them in front of you, we try to make sure that we properly vet people to make sure that we got people that know what they're talking about. So trust and believe that these ladies know what they're talking about, especially for their respective areas. So we're going to go ahead and get rocking and rolling. So Ms. Neff, can you talk to the people and let them know kind of what your background is? Give them a little bit of information about you personally.
Yeah, so I've been doing real estate almost 20 years now. I have my own brokerage called Treehouse Realty Group, and we started in California a few years ago. We've just recently branched out into Georgia, and we have an office coming in a couple months in North Carolina. And then we have Louisiana office coming by the end of this year, New Orleans. Yeah. So we'll have 4 branches by the end of this year. That's how fast things are moving and going, and real estate is real estating right now. So
yes.
Okay, and that's amazing that your company's name is Treehouse and you're branching out. I know that's kind of corny.
Now, did you put that together? You see?
Yeah.
I mean, I see what you. I see that. I see what you're doing.
I was noticing on your page you posted some shoes that had Sequoia on them. They're like some Nikes or something like that.
Somebody sent that to me. I was like, have you ever seen these? I was like, no. So a pair of Nikes called Sequoias. I'm like, I had to cop those. And they're green. That's my favorite color. So it all goes together. Sequoia, tree, house, green, company colors. So.
And money's green.
And money, that's right.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Real estate is real estate.
And they say money grows on trees, but
Yeah, Hey,
Yeah.
Go on and grow with your bad self. Then.
right.
All right, that's what's up. We appreciate you giving us that information. So Miss Green, talk to us. Let us know a little bit
Woo.
about you, and I'm pretty sure that you got some interesting things going on as well.
Oh my goodness. Well, first off, I am affectionately known as the boss chick of real estate. I have been,
Mm.
All right.
if you Google me and you put in Deanna Green, while there are 1,000 Deanna Greens out here, I promise you I am number one by design. That will come up. So that is first and foremost. And when I say I am the boss chick of real estate, it is because I've been in the industry for over 25 plus years. I've touched every aspect of real estate. I have a full brokerage firm. So I'm a broker, so I cover residential and commercial. I have a team up underneath me under Knight and Real Estate Group. Knight and Investment Properties is our second leg. So that's where we do all of our wholesale, our fix and flips, our developments, our single family rentals. We also have opportunities for investors. We teach them how to get into real estate investing. We do JV opportunities there. Then I am also where the money resides because I also have Knight and Lending Group. My husband is our mortgage and commercial broker. So from
That's
your
what's up.
residential to your commercial, we can fund deals as low as $50,000 up to $640 million in deals as
Mhm.
well.
Them
If
jumbo.
you are a
Hey.
business owner and you need funding to start a business, scale a business, grow a business, we can handle that. We also do personal loans as well. I also have a technology business called Knight and Technology. We have a knock knock digital business card, which is on steroids. It is completely different than your dot or your blink because we have an e-commerce piece. So you can literally multi-brand yourself as a serial entrepreneur. I have a brick and mortar called the Biz Lounge. So that caters to my business owners, my entrepreneurs, my creators. It has mailboxes, co-working space, private offices, cafe, podcast studio, photography studio, event space. I'm an aspiring author. I'm getting ready to release my first book called Pieces of Me that
Pop
will
your,
be released in April. And I am,
hold on. You ain't popped your collar yet.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
just
not done
saying,
yet.
I'm just
Just go.
saying.
Just
We're not
go.
done yet.
I mean,
Wait, you interrupted
asked,
her. Keep going. Keep going.
Right. Keep
Benji,
going.
you said you wanted the best of the best on this episode,
He said,
right?
I am
Wait,
here.
Deanna, let me ask you a question. So did
Yeah.
you and your husband got together, were you guys in your respective careers already?
No, so that's actually a
Or it
good
just
question. Well,
happened?
I was in real estate. I was on the property management side of it. So that's where
Mhm.
I first got introduced into real estate. My husband, when I met him at a company that we worked together at, he owns some investment properties, some rental properties. And he'll tell you this story. I always say this. This is not me tooting my own horn, but if you meet my husband, he will say this. When we met, I told him, I said, baby, you ain't doing this right. Like you wonder why your tenants not paying on time or they leaving early and all of this stuff is happening because he didn't have processes and procedures in place. So I came in, I showed him how to really manage his portfolio, how to qualify tenants the right way, how to do, maintenance things because I had learned that being in the property management side. So he knew what he was signing up for. He said, I better go and snag this one right now and put this ring on it. And we actually will be celebrating 24 years of marriage in May. So that should tell you something, right?
Good.
But yes, when I tell you my passion is real estate, I eat, sleep, drink, I do
Mhm.
everything real estate. And I'm passionate about the people that get into this industry. I did a post today. So if y'all follow me, y'all saw this. Like, I'm tired of these people coming in and polluting an industry that I am 100% passionate about.
Mhm.
And things need to change. I'm sick of everybody talking about I'm a realtor. No, you're not. No, you're not.
That
So
sound like
that's my soapbox.
That's in COVID
That-
realtors. They
that
became
sound-
realtors. COVID.
Say
that
that
sound
again.
like a preacher. That sound like a preacher when a bootleg preacher walk in. Like, I'm sick
Yeah.
of your bootleg preacher. But hold
No,
on.
that's true. I mean, because every third person is a realtor now. It's like a trend to be a
Yeah.
realtor.
Ah.
And just passing that test doesn't make you a realtor. There's so much that goes
No.
into it.
Yeah.
Boy,
Yeah.
I know how to pick these interviews, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, that's definitely dope. Like you got a
Right.
lot going on,
Yes.
to say the least. But that's always a good thing to be able to spread things out, to be able to have your hands in different lanes, and you answer some of the questions that we were going to actually ask, but but that just shows us how you all are passionate about what you do. And like you said, to be quite honest, yeah, I do hear people quite honest say, "Hey, I'm into real estate. I'm a realtor." And just like with anything, like there's levels to everything.
Yeah.
So everybody's not on the same level. Everybody's not passionate on the same level. So when you start looking at, the depth of which people go on it, you have people that are just in it for quick flips and things like that. And they watch couple of YouTube episodes, and get the information and want to run out there and start trying to make money, which can knock people for trying to make money. But there are people who have been in these industries for quite a long time and who've worked hard for their stripes. And you got to respect that for sure for sticking in there.
It is a career that's really glamorized, and so I think a lot of people come in and they just, I'm pretty, I could be a realtor, or I, they just find, I pass a test, I'm going to be a realtor, but there's just so much that goes into it, and I'm the same way, Dan. Like I always tell my realtors all the time, I eat, sleep, drink, think constantly, 24/7. If I'm awake, I'm real estating. You know what I mean? I'm rotaring. So, there's just it's so many ins and outs, and you're right. It is flooded with a lot of people who want to be a realtor, but you have to have a certain type of engine in you.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that what we're also seeing, especially with our landscape, I've been through so many years of the ebbs and flows of real estate, and where we are right now is such a different time that where I'm actually seeing all the ones fall off. And I'm like,
Right.
thank you. Finally get on out of this industry, because we already have enough to deal with all of the policy changes, the contract changes, right? And we still haven't seen the end of that. Interest rates being where they are, property values, insurance situations, like all of those things that we already have to deal with for people that are in this industry for the life of being in this industry. I don't want the distraction of these other people that are in it because they've been watching HGTV or selling
Right.
Right.
Yeah. But it's not just a distraction. They were going to fall off anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's also about how they make people who are serious about real estate look.
Yep.
Right. So they look at all of us the same way, and they just put a blanket over us when it's not that,
Right.
So just like I think about people that go to the gym in January and they fall off,
right. After 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they're done with it. Right. So that leads me into my first question, Sequoia. What is your market focus, and how does that play a role in how you progress and how you go forward in real estate?
So I'm working several markets. So it's a little bit tricky because especially when we come to like mentorship and different realtors working in whole different states, not just cities within the same state, but we're in whole different states. And then California itself is its own market. It's its own beast.
Yes.
So it's just being able to navigate through those obstacles. Like she said, there's several obstacles that we just have just in general in real estate. And then as the market keeps shifting and changing, it creates even more obstacles. So I think, what I want to say is probably the biggest challenge in running a brokerage out of several states is keeping up and keeping aligned with all the different markets and the different shifts and changes, and making sure that all the realtors are aligned on the same page.
Right. And same question, Deanna, with the market focus, because we know how volatile the real estate market is. We know how people have thought about getting in, didn't get in, all of these different changes and everything that goes on. What is your market focus when you, at the end of the day, when you look at it?
So because I'm focused on residential and commercial, the biggest part for me is education. So when I'm talking to my clients, what I say to them is, What I stand on is my buyers or sellers will never have buyers or sellers remorse with me. The reason being is because I'm going to educate them along the way. Every transaction is completely different. Every client is completely different. So an experienced realtor or broker is going to know that and be able to navigate that person and that transaction accordingly. And so that's what becomes very important to me. Now, as far as my market is concerned, I've chosen not to, like I've had several companies reach out to me because they see what I do and want me to white label and come up underneath their brokerage so that I can grow into multiple states. And I was highly considering it this year. But the problem with me is because as I mean, I literally gave y'all diarrhea of the mouth, right? I told y'all all the things. And I'm just going to be, I'm one of them real raw and authentic women, right? I'm just going to go ahead and tell it like it is. So in that, I also realized, wait a minute, I have so many different legs going on with my businesses that I also want to make sure I'm the broker that can be there for my agents and can make sure that at the end of the day, our clients are being serviced the right way properly. So I pulled back and said, you know what? I'm not in a position to want to grow in multiple markets because as Sequoia said, you have to also know those markets. You need to know the laws. You need to know the contract. You need to know the markets. You need to know all of the volatileness that goes along with those particular
areas.
And
it changes weekly.
And it changes weekly. Absolutely. So for me, I said, Deanna, just focus on Texas. Texas being as big as it is, I gotta know.
I mean, but it sounds like Texas is not too big for you. You got it sold up.
Listen, like I'm the San Antonio market is getting ready to grow. I'm already in Dallas. I know Austin is coming next. But for me, I just always want to make sure that I am a good stewardess to what God provides for me, but I'm also someone that can be taught. When I say my education in real estate is so important to me, I've been through years of bumping my head on the ground and against a wall. And I'm like, you're going to pay for that education some way, right? You're either going to pay for it in your dollars or you're going to pay for it in experience. And I'm just at the point now where I just want to be able to pay for it by my experience and then being able to let that trickle down. Even growing my brokerage. I had for several years, I had agents knocking at my door, pounding my door down. Deanna, please let me join. And I'm like, I'm not ready. I don't want to take on that responsibility. God finally laid it on my heart and he said, okay, 2025 is your year. You can go ahead and start growing. But even with that, I'm being strategic. I got new agents coming on, but I don't want new agents. I don't want brand new agents because the industry that we're in right now, if you're not doing it full time and this is not your passion, not your hobby, and it's a hobby for you, I'm not interested in training you. I need people. Yeah, I need seasoned people that I can train you transactionally. I can train you once a month on things that are going on, but I'm not interested in the agents that just got the license, still got the baby's breath on it. I am not interested in that.
Don't want no Similac on it.
No.
I actually know a lot of brokers who say the same thing, starting off their 1, 2, 3 years into their brokerage. And a lot of them say the same thing, like they don't want fresh new agents.
Right.
And I understand that. I totally get that because I have agents that are brand new all the way to agents that have got 22 years, more years than me in the game. So, but I understand the challenges there in having new agents. But with me, what I look at is I look at the quality in that person because I've been out and about places and I've gotten like really good customer service from somebody. I'm like, you ever thought about being a realtor? Because to me, I'm thinking about the quality. Like even if this person is new, I can confidently say just in my experience with them that they have what it takes. You know what I mean? So I think it boils down to really what they have. And like I said, you need a certain type of engine in you in order to be a realtor. Even in sports.
Yeah.
Even like in sports, they say they can teach you fundamentals, but they can't teach you how to be a beast. That has to just be something in you.
In you, right.
So that's what I look for. I look for kind of the beast.
Yeah.
in
What-
But
what-
I think it comes
Yeah.
down to the why. Like when I'm
Yes, I was gonna
interviewing,
say
I
that.
always
Right.
say, what's your why? And the first, as soon as I hear an agent say, well, the reason why I got my license is because I like showing houses, that's a done deal for me. I'm like, I'm not interested in that.
You know how
Because
much money you lose in just
right.
showing a
Well,
house?
but showing houses, it truly is the last part of all the
Yeah.
things that we do to lead you up to that moment. So if all you're talking about is, oh, I just love showing houses, that's my indication right then and there that no, this isn't. Yeah, you're not the right person for me.
Yeah, that means they just watched HGTV.
That's exactly right.
That you show houses.
And yeah, that's what I said. They've over glamorized being a realtor. All these different shows. Yeah, and there's so much that goes into it. And like you said, there's all buyers, all sellers are built different. I've
Right.
never had in my years of experience, I've never had similar buyers. I mean, maybe similar situations or whatever. There's always something different, always some type of tweak, So yeah, no, I totally get that. But
With that being said, because you're both in different markets. We know Sequoia, you're in, mainly based in Cali.
Hold on, Benji. Hold
ahead.
on. Before we get deep into that,
Right.
I want to go back a little bit and to something, a basic question before we get deeper into the topics. What made y'all even want to get in this line of work?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because
That's a good question.
it's not something that you just wake up and say, you know what, I'm gonna sell houses. Like, this is something that you have to think about. So, Sequoia, like, what made you want to get into this line of work?
There's a couple different moving factors. So I didn't have that. I come from a family that preached wealth. And I bought my first house, I was 19. And I was really interested in the process and the whole way through. And then I wanted to buy another house. And then I just kind of got the bug. One day this guy came to me and he says, you know what? You will make a really good realtor. And I said, really? He said, yeah, you should think about it. And I thought about it overnight. Next day I was like, I'm gonna be a realtor. Anybody knows me. Once I get an idea, I'm going with it, right? So I'm gonna be a realtor. Now I had no idea what it entailed, what I had ahead of me. Just like everybody else, you come in, you don't have any knowledge, you don't have the confidence, you don't know how to overcome obstacles. Back then there wasn't good mentorships and programs like there are now. And I went in and I was like thrown to the wolves and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And I want to say my first 3 or 4 years, just like everybody else, I mean, it's the same story. You quit a million times, like, I'm done with this.
Right.
I'm done,
Right.
I get my little sack and and walk away. And I did it so many different times. But, I always tell my realtors, I look at it like this, and not to say that they're kids or anything, but as a parent, you go through life, you go through the trial and error, you figure out what works, what doesn't, you get over the obstacles, and so now when your kids are older and they're starting their journey, before they go down the path, you're like, oh no, don't go down there, there's a snake over there. Like, now you know what to go back and tell them, so
Right.
as I started going, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to give up, I'm going to keep going. And as I started learning, and then I wanted to know more, and then I got into wealth and the economics and money, and then it just really all started flooding and coming to me, and business just started booming. And it's like I found the golden key,
Right.
pun intended, right? And so what made me want to start my brokerage is that me looking back and reflecting how hard it wasn't necessarily a passion, like this is something I want to do. It was just a matter of me not giving up. And then it became very fruitful for me. And I saw what not giving up and being consistent did. And I wanted to be able to, I'm naturally a coach, I've coached all different levels, sports. And so I wanted to be able to do that for my realtors.
Right.
Give them what I didn't have, so
Right.
I'm dropping gems on them. I'm giving them the juice. I mean, I'm not a gatekeeper with them. Look, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to say. This is how you handle this. You can call me anytime, 3:00 in the morning. What do you need? I got you. So I try to push my agents in a way that I felt like I wasn't supported or pushed when I was younger, fresh in the game. So, but my inspiration, like, to answer your question, it didn't come from me just aspiring to be a realtor, like, oh, this is what I want to do. It was just came from me not being a person to want to fail. Like, I don't give up. I just keep going. And I began to love it. And I began to see how fruitful it was. And it's just, now it's just me. It's a part of me.
You'd be surprised that that is actually what most of the when we have the interviews, when we ask that question, that is you typically their response. It's like we found our way into it and we worked our way into it, and so don't feel any indifference in that, because that's typically mostly every entrepreneur, every person who started a business. So
Yeah.
All right. And Deanna, same question for you.
So mine started, I actually lived on, I was a single young teenage mother. I had my son, my oldest son, a week before I turned 17. I moved out from my mother's house and lived at a little small apartment complex that had about 32 units. I would go in and pay my rent. And one time I went in, the owner of the complex said he had a bookkeeping position available. And you know how they always say, when you want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans, right?
yes,
And he,
yes,
right? So my plans had always been, I was going to graduate from high school, go to Howard College, get my entertainment law degree, and then go off to California and be an entertainment attorney. And that didn't happen that way. And so I've always been somebody that loves numbers. And so when he approached me about getting this bookkeeping position, what really sold me was that he said that part of that was I would get my rent free working for it. So
Well,
obviously,
that'll do it.
now, right? So I'm a single
rent, bro.
mom, right? And he said rent free. That was my biggest bill at that time. I'm like, where do I sign up, right? So I did that and got into it. But 6 months into it, I realized that y'all can probably already tell my personality. I'm not going to sit behind a desk and punch a calculator all day long, right?
Right.
So I got bored with it, and a property manager position came available. And at that time, because like I said, it's been 25 plus years ago, they didn't have the natural evolution that they have now. When you're in property management, you start at leasing agent, then you might go to bookkeeper, and then you go to assistant manager, property manager, you work your way up. I went straight into property manager, and I was actually managing the community that I was on. And so I have a natural thirst for knowledge, wanting to excel. I'm highly competitive. I played every sport in junior high and high school except for soccer, and that's only because they didn't offer it. Oh, I played basketball even at 5'2". Yeah,
I dunk on you. What you say? You 5'2"?
That makes three of us. That makes three of us here.
Girl, you ain't dunking on.
I'm telling you, I played football. I did powder puff football. I ran track. I was on the Junior Olympics. I did cheerleading. I did volleyball. I did softball. You name it. I did.
Look here, man.
Look, same here. I did all the sports too. So yeah.
So being highly competitive. So when he came to me, he was like, look, you know, I've got all of these projects going on. And under his tutelage, I got to learn cap rates. I got to learn how to reposition properties, acquisitions, renovations. He taught me to get in dirty with the maintenance people. So I knew how to change locks and, fix a toilet. And I had one property that had over 80 major pipe breaks in 1 year. So I knew I really got to learn as far as real estate was concerned. And from that, it just was a natural transgression on my desire for it. Then meeting my husband and having properties. Now I'm looking at, okay, what is the real, when you're talking about owning property and you're talking about making passive income, a lot of people don't understand what that really means and how much inventory you have to have in order for it to be true passive income, right? So even when I coach my clients now, I'm like, well, yeah, you might own one rental, but even if you're cash flowing $500 a month, and you times that by 12, that's what, $6,000 a year. I'm doing the numbers.
You can't even count that because maintenance wipes that out.
So when you talk about if you got one tenant, once they move out, if they trash the place and it takes you 2 months, that capital that you've been putting over here has already been exhausted. So I got to learn that a lot earlier than a lot of other people didn't. And then my husband and I knew I could not be born, raised, and die in North Carolina. Like, I love North Carolina to death,
Like the
but
time
that
they
was
get up out of there.
no, that was not going to be what you wrote on my tombstone. She was
What
born
city
in
did you
North
say?
Carolina, and she
What city?
say what?
What
Raleigh,
city was that?
Durham.
Oh, Raleigh.
Raleigh,
Yeah, yeah.
You
So
down there with the Tar Heels.
right. So
And Duke,
2008, the stars lined up. I had been saying to God, listen, we got to move. I don't know where it's going to be, but we got to go. So Houston, was good to us. Opportunities. We moved out here in 2008. Now, while that happened, as y'all all know, if you really follow real estate, 2008 is when we had the major real estate crash.
Yes, yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So we got out here to Texas, new family, no friends, no family members, 3 young kids still in school, just my husband and I. And we had all these rental properties in North Carolina, and renters were abandoning them. Rent checks weren't coming in. I'm having to call my best friend, people back in North Carolina. Can you please go check on these properties? I'm not getting any response from it. I'm flying back and forth. And we had to make some heavy decisions. We had to do foreclosures. We had to do short sales. My husband and I had to make some decisions on, okay, whose credit is going to take the heaviest hit? Because at that time, we were so over leveraged where both of us was carrying a big bulk of our credit on both of our credit reports. So we learned from that. So now I'm gonna plug this, because if you listening to this and you married or planning on getting married or whatever the case may be, if you're in a position where you can have one significant other carry the bulk of your credit and the other one you leave light, in the event you got a pandemic, you got a major shift in the economy, your lifestyle does not get affected. So now me and my husband, I carry the bulk of everything. We keep his stuff light. So if we need to start a new business, or again, something happens in the world, our family lifestyle doesn't get changed. And so we got here. Right. So we got here to North Carolina. I was having a hard time finding at that time, I was high level in property management. I was a VP. I was having a hard time finding a position in Texas because everybody kept saying, well, you got the experience, but you don't know the market, which was, can I curse on this show? I want to be politically correct. Okay. That was bullshit. Like, a market is a market, right? Your experience is your experience, right? So I fell into corporate housing, which everybody considers Airbnb. And I did that for about 10 years. And then I started Knight and Real Estate Group in 2016. And at that time, it was like, I need to go get my real estate license. Like, I'm letting all of this business walk out the door because I was dealing with a lot of relocation clients. And my model now is, if you follow me enough, every 2 years, Deanna is starting something new. So 2016 was Knight and Real Estate Group. 2018 was Knight and Investment Properties. 2020 was Knight and Lending. 2022 was Knight and Technology. 2024 was the Biz Lounge. So I don't know what's gonna happen in 2026, but it is what it is.
You sound like me, Deanna. They're like, what do you got going on now? Like, I'm popping up with all these announcements every year too. Like, but go back again. Now, what you say about this here husband? Let me take some notes. What I got to do? I got to find a husband that's doing what? Let me see. Credit.
The search is on. Hold on. Don't you start nothing, because there's some brothers in the comment section. I'm telling you
now they're gonna start writing in. You can use my credit.
Look, we can keep it heavy on me. We go light on you. What we gotta do? Wait, hold on.
Now look, you gotta trust that person, right?
Because I'm trying to tell you, we got some fireballs that watch this show. I promise you, your inbox will be full like a mug.
Sequoia, your inbox might be full after tonight.
Listen, I'm looking. I need a partner. I need a partnership. We can worry about the rest later. But now, what we doing with the credit?
Put your pen down.
Oh man. So but Deanna, hearing that is amazing, because the fact that you understand the levels to this as a relationship, the business, the whole nine, everything is amazing. So really kudos to that. That's dope right there.
And something that, any realtors, especially newer realtors are watching, there's
Mhm.
so much commonality that I see between the two of us and just our
Right.
backgrounds and
Right.
just the type of how we are and so invested in our careers and just having an entrepreneurial mind and competition and sports, just a lot of those same things. Like I said, it takes a certain type of person to become a realtor. So people like tuning in and watching, back to what we initially talked about in the beginning, it's not just about coming in and looking pretty and putting on something nice and standing in front of a house and taking a picture.
That is
There's so much more to it,
Yeah.
that is a fact. Being in that space and having been in it, I understand it. That's what made me kind of go into doing my own thing. But let me ask you guys this, because you guys are in both in what I would call thriving markets, in very volatile markets. What would you say are the major nuances if you're talking to a realtor in California, Sequoia? What would you say one of the nuances that you would say, let me make them aware of this at the top of your list? What would that be?
Well, when I'm coaching my realtors, um I want them to be aware that, well, there's a couple things. Let's go back.
Right, right,
So I want them to be aware that the way something looks is not always the way that it is.
right,
It goes back to all the time. It doesn't matter what face is on. It goes back to you. It goes back to what you are putting in. It goes back to what you're doing. It goes back to how you're branding yourself. It all goes back to you. So doesn't matter what the market looks like, doesn't matter if it's going up and down, doesn't matter if it's bad, good, doesn't none of that matters. It all comes back to you in a what someone might consider to be a horrible market, bad market, a strained market, stress market. It doesn't matter. You can still thrive in that market, but it comes back to what you're willing to do, what you're willing to put into it, your consistency, all of that. So when I'm coaching my team, I'm coaching them to focus on what you can bring,
to the
out.
table. Right, right.
Right,
Because
right.
you're gonna deal with some folks. You're gonna deal with a whole bunch of stuff, right, Deanna? So if you're in that space, what are you saying to? What were you saying to your husband even at that point? Because you guys were dealing with it, with the crash and all of these types of things. What nuances were at the top of your list that you were like, oh, I need to make so and so aware of this, or anyone you're dealing with aware of this particular nuance?
Okay, so I want to make sure I understand, because the question initially was just as far as agents and the markets are concerned. Are you
Right.
asking me that, or are you talking about what my husband and I? Just so I can make sure I'm answering either.
Either one.
Okay,
It's because I think it's relatable on both sides of the coin. It's
right.
just a matter of which one you feel comfortable expressing first, whichever one.
So both of them I can speak on. Number one, as far as my agents are concerned, what I find when I'm talking to agents, whether I'm onboarding them or they're part of my team, is what is your niche, right?
Hmm.
Like, what
Mm,
are you passionate about? Because real estate has so many different facets to it, but you
mm,
can't, until you've been as experienced as Sequoia and I have been in this market and seen the ebbs and flows that come along with it. You can't be an agent that can come in and all of a sudden say, I want to be a commercial realtor. I want to be a residential. I want to do a
mm,
deal with investors. I want to be the buyer's agent. I want to be the listing agent. So many times that's where they go wrong, because in their mind, they just trying to, I don't want any business to go out the door and I lose the commission. But if
Right.
you're not servicing that client right, a lot of times you can put, and this is the other thing I try to tell my agents, while the industry has made realtors assume that they are independent contractors, they are to
Hmm.
a certain degree. But at the end of the day, all your contracts belong to me. I'm the broker.
and you represent the
Right.
company.
You
Right.
represent me.
Right.
So
Right.
although you might think you're an independent contractor and you going out here and saying and doing whatever you want to do, I'm the one that's giving you the leeway to sign on my behalf. So I'm
Right.
constantly having to remind my agents about that.
Mhm.
Number two is, again, what's your niche? Like, if you want to be a buyer's agent, then we need to only focus on your marketing and everything. Get good at that. Get good at understanding a buyer's representation agreement. Get good at being able to negotiate on your buyer's behalf. Let's talk about that before we transition you to being a listing agent, because that's a completely different transaction. And a lot of realtors don't understand that. Commercial is a completely different beast. I don't
Right,
let
it
none
is.
of my agents even touch commercial. I'm first and foremost, you can shadow me, you can get your training that way, but you don't get to operate in that field because you don't have that training.
Yep.
So that's the first thing that I do. The second thing is a lot of agents, this is what I don't like about our current market right now. And Sequoia, I'm sure you can attest to this. There are so many brokerages and a lot of boutique ones out here that all they are focused on is they want to be able to say, I got 30 agents up underneath my license, right? So they're offering things like low transaction fees, right? You don't have to pay me but $200 for your transaction. You don't have to cover the E&O insurance. There's so much that they're doing to dilute the ethical side of our industry. So then we get these agents brand new. I just had a call this week, brand new agent. Her license is inactive. It's not even up underneath anybody, right? And she was more concerned about, I done went through all she gonna get from me, the mentorship, the back end support, the front end support, and all she cared about was, well, how much money are you going to take out of my commissions? And I said, sweetheart, you haven't even closed one deal yet. Like,
Right.
I haven't even taken you through the process, and you're more concerned about whether or not I'm going to get an 80-20 split. And I need to explain to you why I'm getting this 80-20 split versus you want to go down the street and go pay $250 a transaction. But let me tell you what you're going to get with that $250 transaction.
Right. Yeah. And
right.
You are not lying. All day long, they're popping up.
And it's more and more of them. So I'm now gotten to the point where I'm like, I even vetted from the start. What's your main concern in real estate? Because if you tell me your main concern is how much money are you going to get out of the deal, let me go and stop this conversation right now. We don't need to talk, because my 25 years of experience, I can't even put a dollar on how much it has cost me. And you about to get it for only 20% on a maybe transaction. Maybe you gonna do a transaction this year. Yeah.
Like,
I had a similar situation with somebody that came to the brokerage, and once she left her brokerage, they came back and they offered her something outrageous. Like, she's a 1-year realtor, and they offered her, oh, we'll give you a 95.5 if you stay.
Ooh,
and she said, you know what? I just can't resist it. I said, you know what?
Stay there.
0%. Look, 95.5 of 0 deals is $0.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, well,
$0. So are they going to, you wanted training, you wanted direction, you wanted guidance, you wanted coaching, you wanted mentorship, you wanted all these things, you wanted help branding, you wanted all these things that I can give to you, but you want to go there on a 95.5 where they're not teaching you anything. Have at it. Have at it.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a challenge. See, those are things you got to deal with when you're the boss of all of this, the whole ship. So I know it gets challenging sometimes. So but that leads me into the question of dealing with market trends, because I know you guys deal with those a lot, right? Deanna, what are you seeing that's trending? What is the market trending like? What does it look like right now in your area?
Well, the great thing is finally buyers are listening to us, experienced realtors and brokers that said that this is our new norm. These interest rates are what they are. Right. We are not going to see 2.99 or 3.25.
We're not going to see pre-pandemic or just after the post-pandemic. We're not seeing those anymore.
We're not seeing that.
Just as the FYI, what are we looking at right now? What is the interest rate look like right now?
So credit is always going to dictate it, but on the low end, you might be about 6.25, 6.5. On the high end, you're still around 8%. So at the end of the day, your credit and your DTI is going to dictate all of that, right?
Right.
That's our new norm. But here's
As
the
an
funny-
investor, I have never cared about what my percentage was.
No,
I was
I've
just
never
gonna say
cared.
that.
I've never cared what the interest rate was as an investor.
And most owners and realtors, and this is the reason I ask this, is because I meet a lot of people, especially African Americans, and they're scared of the rates. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking like,
It's a herd mentality. It's a herd mentality.
It's not. I'm telling you, listen, you get that house, because the moment you can get a chance to refi and get out of that 6.2 to a 4.99 or whatever it may be, it's going to bless you so tremendously. Because
Benji, let me take it a step further.
Go
This
ahead.
is what's crazy to me. Ask the average person what their interest rate is on a credit card. Ask them what their average interest rate is on a car that they're driving. People will pay an astronomical number, interest rate, and APR for a vehicle and for a credit card that is a liability and not an asset.
Just how much are you paying in rent?
Right.
Yes.
Even
and that's zero.
How much?
At 0%.
That's 100%. That's
at
right,
the end of the day,
right.
You having a real estate, a piece of property, and as long as you were strategic and you bought in the right location, and historically, and here's the other thing. This is another reason why I say I'm so passionate about it, because a lot of times, even with my home buyers, if you don't have the right agent, they're not just looking at where you say you want to live. They should be looking at the historical trends and being able to direct you. So I don't want a client telling me that, oh, I want to go live out in Timbuktu. And I'm sitting here telling you, well, historically, if you tell me that you plan on being there for 5, 10, 15 years, and you hoping to be able to use this as a wealth building machine for you, my job is to tell you this is not the right location for you, right? But historically, properties aren't going to appreciate. And as an agent, what I do is my people go into a database. So when I say I educate and I ask questions, I need to know, is this your first home? Is this the forever home? Is this the home I'm going to at some point want to turn into an investment property? Because now I need to be saying, are we buying in the right location where a rental market says it will dictate that in 5 years, I can turn around and tell you, let's put you in another house and we can turn this into an investment property.
And I've never personally invested in a property where I didn't make back everything that I paid in interest.
Right.
Exactly.
So as long as we're as realtors coaching them, like you said, on where and when, depending on what are you using this for? Is this going to be an Airbnb? Is this your home where you're going to live? How long you plan on living here? I need all those details. But in the end, I've generally always gotten back what I've invested into it, all the interest I paid on it, and some. So for me, I don't care about interest unless it's something outlandish, like they tell me 15% or something, or maybe I'm not, but for the most part, I don't even care about those interest rates. That's a herd mentality. And what they do is your brothers, cousins, uncles, sister that you used to work with says, oh, high interest rates, run. And everybody runs. That actually, when the interest rates are higher, that is when it is a great time for buyers to buy. That is when you buy, because it's a ghost town. There's tumbleweeds and all the buyers they're off somewhere thinking they're doing the right thing. And all these sellers are desperate. They want to get rid of their homes. There's no buyers there. And here you come, the last buyer standing. And guess what you're going to get? You're going to get everything that you want out of that deal. You're going to get them to lower that price. You can get them to pay your closing costs. You're going to get all these things that you wanted, because you're that solo buyer that didn't go with the trend and didn't run away with the interest rates. And then, for those people who are holding out for the interest rates, which they're, like you said, they're not going anywhere, but just say they do. Just say they do go down. Buy in and get all that upfront money and cash that you can get. And then if they do go down, just you refinance for the lower interest rate. Right. And that way you're buy winning, because now you got in and you didn't have to put that much money down because the seller paid practically everything for you. And then you go and you have a lower interest rate later. So The people that wait for the interest rates to go down, all they're doing is just it's being countered by the cost of homes are going to go up higher.
Go up, right.
Right. So now
So,
you're not
Yeah,
going to.
and then understanding, I think when you talk, Benji, about your market, you also need to understand inventory levels,
Yeah.
right? Like a
Mhm.
lot of people don't understand what a healthy inventory market is, and that is normally 6 months of inventory available.
Mhm.
In Texas alone, we are operating at 3.1. Okay, so that means that right now, I was at a new home builder development, and I got a client I just put under contract to sell their home. And I had to say to him, I said, look, your home is only 2 years old and you're still in a master plan community that is still going through development. But I stopped into the management office or the model home, and I inquired. I said, hey, how much longer do y'all have to build here? Well, it was funny because the builder said, look, we put a pause on it. We're only trying to sell our current inventory. We're not going to start back up building until June or July. Well, for me as a broker, that was my sales technique to go back to my seller and say, if you want to sell, we need to sell right now before this builder decides to open back up the floodgates in June or July and start creating more inventory in a community that, because at the end of the day, while your house is only 2 years old, your house is still priced with a brand new build. So a person walking in, if they can get a brand new house and pick out the flooring and the cabinets and the color and all of that, they don't want your house.
For the
I don't care how good your house is. Right.
And,
so
and now you're talking about markets, not to cut you off, but to piggyback on what you're saying, when you're talking about the different markets, we take, I work in LA and then also Atlanta. So it's the same thing in Los Angeles. When I'm telling my clients that, listen, they're not building any new homes in LA. I mean, in certain little small patches, maybe, but they're not building any homes. So you can sell a home that's 1920 and people are buying it. But when you leave outside of LA County, now you're going into, Riverside County, Inland Empire. They're building up homes. This new community coming up every week. So the thing is, what you said, why are they going to purchase your home when they can get this brand new home with all these things on them? So when I'm coaching in LA, hey, you can buy a 1920, 1930, 1940. When the buyers in Inland Empire don't get anything older than 20 years. Because you want to be able to resell it. If you need to get this house off of you, you need to get out of here, you need to sell this house, you need to be able to sell it. And you got all these new homes coming up, it'll make it harder for you, and it's the same price essentially.
Ken, I believe you had a question you was about to jump in there for a second.
No, I would just always, throw this out there. We've had episodes on real estate before, and I always hear this thing called, they say, marry the house, date the rate. So, I mean, that's kind of what you all were discussing, where people, don't pay so much attention to the rate. If you have an opportunity to get a property or a house that that you really want, go ahead and do that, and you can always refinance and do the other stuff later. But
even with that, Ken, here's the other thing. In today's time, when we talked about our parents or our grandparents, right? When they bought a property, it was always about leaving it for the next generation. None of that is happening now. Even my children, my house is over 5,000 square feet, 4-car garage. My kids have no desire to want this house, nor do we have a desire to leave this house for our kids, because it is too massive and it's not what they want. So even for my husband and I, we got into this house a year into it, right before COVID happened. My husband being a lender, we started seeing the trends. Now, the great thing about being in it 25 years and having this experience, we can almost foresee when stuff is about to start shifting in this industry. So my husband came, he says, hey, I think something's getting ready to come down the pipeline. It's too good to be true right now. So he was like, what do you think about us refinancing our house, but going into an interest only loan? Now, when we bought our house, this was the great thing. When we bought our house, we bought it at a certain price point, but within 2 years, we had now had more than the 20 to 30% equity that we needed in order to qualify for an interest-only loan. So we went, applied for it. We now have a 10-year interest-only loan that is less than what my $350,000 new home buyers are paying, right? And now our house in 5 years of us being here is double in equity than what we bought it for. So we got a retirement plan that's already in this house that we don't have to touch now,
or worry about,
right? But more importantly, the play was, we looked at it like, why are we concerned about what this mortgage payment is every month for a 30-year mortgage when we don't plan on paying this house off in 30 years?
I was gonna ask this, Deanna, and it's hard to cut you off, but I want to make sure the listeners understand what the equity is in the home. Explain that just for a second.
So equity in your home is, so I don't mind being transparent. When we initially bought our house, we bought our house for $563,000, right? Today's market, my house is worth over $1 million.
Right.
So that just tells you in 5 years that property values have appreciated in 5 years time frame, to now say that in today's market, if I go put my house on the market, I could easily list it for $1.1 million.
Right.
So that's
and the equity is going to be minus, if you bought it at 5 something, you paid on it, so you probably owe 4 or whatever. So equity would be that 1.1 minus the 4, whatever's left.
So
what helps your equity go up? What helps your equity go up in a home?
Well, location is always going to play
a
part.
Coming up in the area.
New homes coming up. What's being sold around you? So I'm constantly I've tagged. So as soon as I see something in my master plan community go on the market, like I'm watching it like a hawk. I'm like, yeah, baby, sell high. Sell high. All you doing at this point is pushing my market value up. Now, the caveat to that is market values go up on your house. What else you think going up? Property tax.
Yes.
Okay. So if you somebody at the same time, this is the other thing that I try to educate my home buyers on that a lot of people don't pay attention to. Most people worry about what that initial mortgage payment is to get into the home. I tell my clients, my job is not to just get you into the home, it's to keep you in that home, right? So in order for me to do that, I need for you to also be planning for that. If today you say all I can afford is $2,500 a month, you need to be prepared that in the next year to 2 to 3 years, that mortgage payment could potentially go up because your property taxes are going to increase. And look at what's happening with insurance right now. Shoot, California is affecting everybody nationwide. What happened in California, it's getting ready to be a rippling effect. We were already seeing insurance companies pull out.
Yeah, there's a lot of insurance companies that aren't even insuring anymore.
They're even getting to the point where they're getting specific about what items on the home they will insure. If your roof is older than 10 years of age, you may not be able to insure that house, or at least the roof won't get insured.
That's what I've heard.
Exactly.
So that leads me.
And even it's how something might get damaged.
Right.
And in Texas, where California deals with the wildfires and all of that, well, Texas, we not only have always had to deal with floods, well, we've in the last 3 years have abnormal freezes that have broke pipes in people's houses, have flooded houses. So we are now going through all of these weather anomalies that are also affecting our insurance. To date, it is now historically said that it used to be that the majority of your mortgage payment was your principal and your interest. Today, it's your property taxes and your insurance. You getting less house for more money.
Now, I know it's different in both of the areas because, Deanna, you're in the Houston area. Sequoia, you're in the Cali area. What are you seeing? What are the differences, Sequoia, between the insurance and the taxes in California, per se, in Houston?
I'm like you,
Oh,
Sequoia.
you didn't even have to ask.
People need to know this because insurance.
Or you already
is,
know
yeah,
insurance is kicking our butts in
right,
California. You already know that.
California,
You know.
right,
And with these recent fires, that didn't help at all. You know, I feel so sorry for the people. I mean, just side note, I feel so sorry for the people that lost their homes that the insurance just didn't cover it, or they just backed out. They may not ever rebuild their home, you know.
right.
And that's and new people coming into those areas, they're not even willing to insure people going into those areas. So who knows what are going to happen to those areas that were affected.
So
Yeah.
really,
You know.
Yeah.
investors need to come in with
More specifically, the
full package.
Palisades area, because that's more of the fire zone.
Right.
Eastvale, there was some freak accident or something that happened. I think they plan to rebuild in Eastvale, but they may start gentrifying that area in you know what was historically predominantly Black area, or should I say a lot of Black people thrived in that area. I think that's like the latest news is that they're scared that with the gentrification, a lot of these people that lost their homes are going to lose like the whole culture in that city.
Right,
So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out
And
to
insurance for us here, the biggest thing is it's just been the huge increase. So,
I
you know,
think I think all these other states actually are affected because of California, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Because 5 years ago, our insurance on our house was $1,600 for the year. And the same house, we haven't had any upgrades or anything like that done to it. And now my insurance on my house is almost $6,000.
And the same with car insurance too.
Car insurance,
Right.
yeah. Like I'm blown away. I'm to the point where I'm like, we've got 3 vehicles that are paid off. I'm even to the point where I'm like, hey, can we drop all of this coverage? 2 of them are our children, so we're not going to do that. But that's what we want to do. But I mean, we went from $600 4 years ago to now paying $1,300 for 4 vehicles.
Yep.
That's a mortgage.
Same.
That's
Right.
a mortgage.
Yeah.
What should we be paying attention to, Sequoia, in the market right now? Let's say I'm interested in buying another property, whether it be a farmland property or whatever. What should I be paying attention to if I'm in the market trying to buy right now?
I think right now is an excellent time to buy. It's been dry. It's been dry for at least the past year, maybe a little bit more. These sellers have been trying to get rid of the homes. I want to say practically all of last year. I don't handle as many deals these days because I'm running the company, but pretty much every deal that I had, my buyers were paying close to nothing to purchase their home because the sellers were so desperate to get rid of the homes that they've just been sitting there. And now with all the recent stuff with the NAR has just even strained that even further. And so there's a lot of homes just sitting. So right now is like a perfect time for buyers. And unfortunately on the selling side, I've kind of had to been coaching my sellers like, hey, this is it. This is what's going on right now. Like, you know, the likelihood of you getting all this extra money for your home that's not the market right now. So, but for a buyer, it's the time, but that'll be changing. I think I'm forecasting that it'll be changing. I see pulling out the end of 2025 will be strong. I think the market's going to amp up, and I think it's going to be better for sellers towards the end of the year. Maybe it's like middle of the year to the end of the year, and then 2026 I think is going to be a really good market. I think California wise it's going to be amping up, but Atlanta's already going. Atlanta's good. Atlanta's a really good market right now, so the buyer to seller ratio is good.
Same thing, Deanna. What should we? I'm a buyer. I have a family. What should I be paying attention to in the Houston or in the Texas area? What should I be paying attention to?
I think understanding the property tax rates where you're going, you know, we got some really popular areas, Katy, Cypress, the Woodlands and all of that. But with that popularity comes higher property tax rate, right? buyers understanding again what they can actually, because it used to be the time where when I would first vet buyers, it was always, well, how much of a house do you want to buy, right? Now it's no, how much of a mortgage payment can you afford every month? Because that changes everything. Right now, $3,500 a month mortgage may only get you a $300,000 to $350,000 house. That's not the same as it was 4 or 5 years ago. So educating them on that. Again, also the tax, the
Sorry,
insurance.
can I insert something in there? With the higher taxes and all of that stuff, just kind of piggybacking on what you're saying, that's why you're getting less home these days than you would have, because the higher those prices are, the less home that you're going to get. Sorry.
Right.
No, that's true. That's true.
And then the other part of it is, at the end of the day, is for me, it's making sure that my clients also understand the long-term requirements that come with the home. A lot of times they negate the maintenance that comes with a home. So when we're talking about a resale property, I try to make sure that I keep my clients under the 10-year mark, because maybe there's still some builder warranties that could be transferred over to them to help mitigate some of those expenses. So I'm looking at those things for them and educating them as well. Also looking at what are their short and long-term goals. When I'm talking to my clients, that's what we talk about. Again, is this the starter home? And when we say it's the starter home, is that only 5 years in? Because that for me says, well, do you really need to be in this area? Things for me that are important when it comes to my buyers is even coming down to, a lot of people used to always want to live as close to where they work. Why? Because you don't never know if you won't have that job in a year from now.
Right.
Like I don't need you to be trying to figure out how close your commute is right now if it's gonna blow the budget and if it's gonna stress you out. I need for you to be looking at where it makes sense, and just so if you gotta drive an extra 20-30 minutes to get to work, so be it. If it makes sense location wise, equity wise, and the long-term goals. The biggest thing I want to make sure people listening to this on the home buying side of it is, you just need to make sure that you cannot rely on just Googling everything. There is a reason why experienced realtors and brokers have the education and do what they do, because it is potentially the largest asset you may ever purchase in your life. And why are you trying to navigate this by yourself? Because somebody on the internet told you can do it by yourself, and it costs you thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on the back end. So that's my thing to my buyer is, go on and get me right now. You can afford me right now. What you can't afford is being in a situation where you got this $300, $500 million property, and now you in a situation that you can't get yourself out of.
Shout out to the Fire Session for having two of the dopest on the planet on, because nothing short of the information.
Are you dressing it up, huh?
True. I mean, we got to put it together. It's mandatory. We got to do that.
All right. So I know y'all have given the audience a lot of great information, but one question I like to ask, to make sure that we, give you an opportunity to kind of personalize the experience for some of these audience members, is I like to ask, how does it feel for you to wake up every day and be able to go do something that you're passionate about? Because not too often do people get a chance to do that. Most people are working, doing things just for a paycheck. They're not doing something that they're actually passionate about or something that they actually love. So what does that feel like, Deanna, to get up every morning and say, I'm doing this and it's something that I really am passionate about?
Well, for me, it feels wonderful because I know I'm walking in my purpose. When we started out this session and I rattled off all the things that I'm doing, the one thing that I can always stay true to when I coach people in entrepreneurship is I say, you need to know what your nucleus is. My nucleus is real estate. So when I talk about all the other arms and the other divisions of my entity and my empire, everything feeds itself back to real estate. So if the world turns upside down and this entity is not developing or it's not producing income, at the end of the day, Deanna can drag herself out of bed every morning because real estate is in my DNA. And the other thing I'm gonna leave with is this: real estate is one of the top best wealth building engines out there. You just need to always know what side of the scale as far as real estate is concerned to be on, but it'll never fail you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Great.
So same question posed to you, Sequoia.
You know what? I love this lifestyle that I've curated, and it took years to get to the point where I can put my life together exactly how I need it to go. You know, everything it's a working system. And so I love being able to get out. I'm like he said, I'm always on a plane. I'm here, I'm there, I'm there. And people ask me all the time, they say, "Man, how do you do it? How are you here? How are you there? You're doing this now. Now you start another project. And now how are you doing all that?" And you walk around and you just have a smile on your face and you don't seem stressed, because this is what I love to do. I love it. When I say I eat, sleep, and breathe, and I say it all the time, that's really what I do. I'm real estate all the time. And so I love being able to be the master of my own schedule. I love being able to wake up and work from home. And like you said, there is wealth and there is money into real estate. And there's so many aspects of real estate. It's not just about representing buyers or sellers. There's so many different ways that you can build wealth off of real estate. And I'm here for my realtors to help coach them through those things also. You know, sometimes they tell me, "I want to build my portfolio like you. I want to have all these rental properties and Airbnbs. I want to do what you're doing. How can I get there?" You know, so there's so many different ways that you can make money off of real estate. And I've tapped into a lot of different, but the same like you. Yeah. If any of those things fail, and when it comes back to it, I know I can sell a house. I know I can get a house sold, right?
Right.
So, you know, if I ever get chopped off at the knees, it's going to grow right back because I know my foundation. I know where I'm starting. But yeah, I love being able to master my own schedule. And I think it's a place that it looks good, but people got to put in the work to get there. It is a lot of work, you know, and it can be stressful sometimes, but people have to put in the work and be consistent in order to get to that, you know. So,
Which is the
but yeah.
challenge, right?
I think that's always the biggest challenge. You know, the biggest challenge is not filling out paperwork. The biggest challenge is not showing houses and dealing with clients. The biggest challenge is getting yourself up and getting motivated, being consistent, and getting out there and putting in the work. That's always the biggest challenge is going to be yourself.
That's always
You know.
everybody's biggest challenge in everything is consistency.
Well, and then the passion, like
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend that that says it all
the
the time. She says, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not your why. And that's the thing. In real estate, you got to have a personality. And here's the thing: I feel like I am more of a psychologist and a psychiatrist before I am a real estate agent. Like I promise you, I'm coaching people off of a damn ledge every day before we even get to go look at a house.
Now, do you do matchmaking too?
Into this marriage of this house.
Listen, do you do matchmaking?
Girl.
Let me stop. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna have a whole bunch of
I'm going to tell you. Listen, I was already being nice because brothers was hitting me up like, "Hey man, who is that?"
Look, y'all. If y'all can't add to what she got going on,
exactly. I was like, I don't even know if I have the time, but it definitely has to be somebody that's gonna come in and look. He could be a lender. That'll help.
I'm telling you, the inbox about to be. You about to blow up.
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead, Benji. Go ahead.
Okay, so one of the questions that probably the final question I want to ask is the difference between purchasing commercial and purchasing just residential. What are some of the differences should people know about?
It's a lot. Commercial is a lot.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a lot of numbers. You have to make sure that you are, depending on the type of property that it is. You got to know the net, the gross, what's coming in. I mean, there's so much that you have to configure and get on the number side as opposed to residential.
Yeah.
Residential, they're not running a business out of it, so it's a different dynamic.
Yeah. And then
And
I
I'm
mean
sure
you
it
need
doesn't use FHA, right? It doesn't use FHA for
no,
commercial.
no, 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 no. This is either cash or conventional.
Mhm.
Okay,
Right.
that's
Right.
that's what you're doing when it comes to commercial. But more,
Right.
the other part of it is you need a commercial broker that understands cap rates. Because a lot of
Mhm.
people don't understand when you're looking at buying a property, what is the cap rate? You also need to understand the different appraisals that come along with commercial properties. Is it a cost analysis? Is it a gross? Like there's a lot of different factors that come into buying a commercial property. Now, I love commercial because that's where the money resides. It's a much bigger payout,
Right.
but it is a longer process
And a bigger headache.
and a bigger headache.
What do you mean? What do you
Now, I
mean
will
by a
say
bigger?
this:
What do you
the
mean by a
bigger
longer
headache.
process, DM?
Well, it's just the whole so most of the time with commercial, you're looking at feasibility reports, you're looking at environmental reports, you might be looking at soil testing. There's a whole lot that can go along with if you're buying a property that's got current leases, got tenants in it. You need to be looking at that concept of it. So there's your feasibility and your option period time frame and all of that is much longer than if you're buying a residential property. Most of the time our option period is 5 to 10 days and we're
Right.
closing in 30 days.
Right.
Sometimes with commercial, depending on the property, you
I mean,
might have
months.
a 60, 90 day, 180 day feasibility before you ever get to closing.
Right.
So,
Right.
so from a commercial broker standpoint, while the commission side is much bigger, the process is much longer. Now, what I love about commercial versus residential is there's truly typically not an emotional attachment to it.
That's
When
true.
you're a residential client, you going in and buying a house. Most of the time, people fall in love with the house immediately before we've even closed on it. So now I got to wrestle with your emotional connection to a property. Or from a seller side, I got to now get you to detach emotionally. Stop trying to say just because you got 1970 wallpaper on the wall that you like, everybody else don't like it. No, seriously, right? But from a commercial standpoint, my clients are going in with a business mindset. They buying a property for business. So they looking at, is this going to cash flow? Is it going to add to the bottom line? What's the expenses going to be? So for me, commercial, it's a little bit less headache from the client side. It's just the process is longer. And like Sequoia said, everybody can't be a commercial broker. Stop trying to be a commercial broker unless you've gone and gotten some training or you've been up underneath a broker that has shown you the ropes.
Boy, well, this is golden. This is gold right here, y'all. This is gold. I love it.
Yeah, a lot of great information, and again, we're very appreciative of you ladies joining us tonight. We can't tell it all in one episode. There's never going to be enough time, but we just like to give the audience a glimpse of information. As we always say, we like to put the medicine in the candy. We entertained y'all, but there was a lot of gems dropped on this episode. So these ladies have their own businesses, their own following. So we're gonna get that information from them right now, so y'all can follow them on social media, so y'all can reach out. So listen. We trying to do the business, y'all, fellas. Be easy. Be easy. Hey, and don't play. Miss Green is married, so don't play.
Yeah.
don't get it confused.
If you pull up and she tell us you did, no, I can't cut you.
And don't be acting like you're trying to buy a house. And
Right.
Don't be doing that.
I've gotten that.
I'm quite sure.
I recognize bullshit for sure. Okay, I already know. Okay.
Hey, listen. This was amazing, though. I just want to say this again. I appreciate both of you guys for coming on tonight, for sure.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
Definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
So Mr. Corey, you can kick us off. We like to give the guests an opportunity to leave the audience with final words, some encouragement, whatever you want to leave them with, and then let them know where they can find you and reach out to you.
Well, if you're a starting realtor, I think the bottom line here, what we were talking about is, it's a lot more than looks. It's a lot more than just showing homes. There's so much that goes into real estate. I accept realtors of all different levels, whether they're starting, whether they've been there for 20 years. I'm here to mentor, coach, and help guide you. But we do prefer to have realtors who are really ready to get out there and be consistent and dedicated. If you're a buyer, now is a good time to buy. Sellers, your time is coming very soon. It's right there around the corner. My company is Treehouse Realty Group. The Instagram is at Treehouse Realty Group. And same thing for my name is just at Sequoia Neff. So you guys can find me on Instagram. I don't think I have any more room on Facebook for any more friends. But yeah, so I'm on Instagram.
That inbox gonna be flooded. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah. So again, we appreciate you coming through and blessing us with the knowledge that you all did tonight. Y'all reach out, and if y'all have questions or concerns, if y'all interested in the opportunity, sounds like an amazing thing. But just know, with both of these ladies, you hear they're competitive. So if you don't have that competitive spirit, you might want to sit this one out.
Stand down.
You might want to sit this one out.
Stand down.
All right, Miss Green, talk to the people. Let them know where they can find you. If you have some final words you want to impart upon them, please do.
So for my realtors out there, my biggest thing is just making sure that this is your passion. Really dig deep as to why you want to get into this industry, and more importantly, what you can contribute to this industry. As far as my company is concerned, I have now opened up that I am accepting agents. I'm going to be very honest. Sequoia can have all the new agents. I will send them her way. I have no problem saying it.
We're opening in Dallas, 2026. So
I need experience. And what I mean by experience is I just need for you to have the passion, the willingness to want to learn. And you're doing this full time. As far as my buyers and sellers are concerned, I didn't get the plug, but I have a very unique portal out there for my buyers and my homeowners where I can actually give you cash back that you can apply to your closing costs and your down payment. I am one of few brokers in the nation that has this platform, so I'm excited about that. So plug in with me when it comes to that.
Katy, Texas looking real dope.
That's right. On the lending side, I am partnered with an exclusive lender out there where I have access to over 1,000 different loans. And when I say I can lend to 580 credit scores, foreclosures, short sales, business owners with 1 year of tax returns, 3 bank statements. Business owners can now get an FHA 3.5% loan versus 10 to 20% down. I can handle all of that for you. My social media, my company is at Nydan, that is NYDAN Group on Instagram and Facebook. My personal page is at the.Deanna, DEANNA.green, just like the color of money. And that is also on Facebook and Instagram. And I'm here to be in service, give you all your real estate needs, because I am the boss chick of real estate.
Now, why isn't that your tag? That should have been your tag, your handle.
Well, here's the thing.
Does it say it on there?
Yeah. So if you look up here, it's here. But when you go, if you put in the boss chick of real estate, you put in Deanna Green, like my publicist made it so my SEO is off the chain. You're not gonna see anybody else come up on first page of Google but Deanna Green. So that's by design.
Love it.
That's what's up. We love that for sure. And again, we appreciate you all dropping by, dropping the knowledge on us, the gems. and giving us so much to think about. Trisha Michelle, talk to the people. You know how we do. Talk to the people. Let them know something.
He was over
And-
here sipping something. What is that you had?
Oh no, it's just some juice. It ain't no gin and juice.
She ain't got no liquor tonight, huh?
No, yeah, I had a headache leading into this, so I took 2 pills before we started. So no liquor tonight. But no, I mean, you guys, first of all, you women are inspirational. Like you guys are just doing it, and the accolades and just the work that you guys put into it to be where you guys are at, and to like stick to something that you started, and to just everyone wants to try to find, like you said, their niche, and you guys have it. So that's commendable, and just something to always like just look into and see. I love seeing people do great, and I love seeing our people do great. But outside of that, I'm also trying to, because it's like when you guys are describing real estate, and I'll just say that for a person that doesn't own, that wants to own and wants to get ready to figure out owning in a world where they already don't teach us anything when it comes to us, we have to figure it out ourselves and find out information. I'm gonna be hitting y'all up. I got questions. But I want to prepare myself to be a buyer so that I can have a property and figure out where, when, what, how to get there. So this episode was in a great time in my life and mindset where I'm trying to go into that avenue. So I think anyone else listening, if they're there or had any questions or kind of had the itch, this might have took them a little bit further into trying to travel down that road. So as far as where y'all can find me, it's Trisha Michelle _TM, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Trisha Michelle, Facebook, Patricia Bynum. But I mean, I probably won't add y'all on there because I'm first of all, I ain't gonna add any of y'all. I'm not private, so y'all can add me on Instagram and stuff. Y'all could go on TikTok. Just go on Instagram and TikTok. Just do that and follow 5 Session on YouTube, and y'all won't be steered wrong from there. That's all I can say. And stay out of Sequoia inbox if y'all full of the bullshit. Come on.
So wait a minute. Sequoia says stop blocking her blessings right now.
Listen, I've been taking notes, okay?
I know what this inbox is gonna look like.
She dropped me some gems. I know what I'm looking for now.
I know what this inbox is gonna look like. So I'm trying to help you. You want to sift through.
Listen. These brothers ain't afraid to shoot their shot. Trisha had to deal with it early when we brought her on the show. So trust me, but hey.
But we have now come to a nice, calm waters where everything is steady and they have understood the assignment and they are watching the show as they should and making comments during the show live. And there you go.
I think a great next session, Sequoia, you let me know because you brought it up, Michelle, is from an investor standpoint, is talking about how to get into investment and what are the right avenues, whether you doing it on your own, whether you JV with somebody, whether you get into other projects. So that would be a great discussion to talk about as well.
For sure.
Especially, I know a lot of people that are looking into or have questions or have mentioned things about, Airbnb property or stuff like that.
Well, and let me tell you, when I can go on a rant about that there and what's coming down the pipeline. And actually, there's a whole different play that people need to be looking at besides Airbnb that a lot of the big organizations are already tapping into. And we're going to be left behind if we don't jump on it now, but we need to get up out of the Airbnb side.
I just transitioned all my Airbnbs out. I just all of them out.
We need an episode.
We will definitely be hitting you two up again. I just want you to know that.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's noted.
Listen, when she said we need to do another episode, I thought we was doing like a dating episode or something.
That's what I thought.
We can definitely put you in on one of those.
We can put it together. Don't play
let them call in. Let them get their little.
No, let me stop. Look, I'm like, you know those rappers say, I'm married to the game. I'm married to real estate.
Listen, me and Ken are gatekeepers.
He said he could be a house. How many bedrooms?
Several women that come on this show because brothers we know hit you up and we just have to be truthful and honest. So see, that's when I'm 6 feet tall when I have to stand up for stuff. You know,
You big brother then. You big
you know
brother.
what I'm saying?
Okay.
Okay, Littlefoot.
All
Y'all
right,
hilarious.
all right, Benji Banks, the man, the brand. Talk to the people, man. Let them know something.
Man, listen, I always love putting together these episodes. I always love finding and searching out, finding dope people. And again, I've never met any of these ladies. This is all kind of our process where I go through and I search for people who I know, who I can see have dope personalities, know what they're talking about, and we bring them on the show. And I'm kind of patting myself on the back a little bit, but I'm in love with these types of episodes because they're very informative. They give us exposure, and we let people know what's going on. So again, appreciate you ladies for coming on. But me, man, listen, y'all, I'm everywhere. You can find me at church, leading praise and worship. Go on my link in my bio. You can find the wine there. Come to my shop. You can find there. I got your wigs. I got your bold hold. I got your wig glue. Girl, I got everything you need. Do you hear me? You get what I'm saying?
Don't say girl like the men don't need it too. Don't say girl.
I
Like
mean,
I know, right?
Listen, I got the wig remover. I can get your hair put on. I can get your hair taken off. Listen, come by, holla at your boy. Y'all know where to find me. My Sip and Paint event is coming up in March 15th. So it's going to be a great art and all of that type of stuff there. We're doing a Harlem Night theme. So, I'm always doing something. So y'all know where to find me. You can't miss me, Benji Banks. I mean, if you're going to steal my name, at least make it fly. You know what I'm saying? Don't be, doing the bootleg stuff. But y'all know where to find me. And plus, I'm always on social media. But if I'm ever hitting you up, I'm trying to get you on my show because I think you dope. And other than that, I don't want nothing else. I don't like you. I don't like you. All right. So I'll let you, boy.
All right. Well, again, I'm appreciative of everybody, man, for coming through tonight. My people, Trisha Michelle, Benji Banks, and of course our guest, Ms. Neff and Ms. Green. We appreciate you all. Y'all can find me at Big Ken on Fire on all social media platforms. On Facebook, just Big Ken. Y'all can follow the Fire Session on all social media platforms. Just type in FIYAH session. Will pop right up. Make sure you go to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button, and make sure you hit that bell notification, most importantly, so when we go live and when we post new content, you won't miss out on anything that we present to you. Because as you can see from tonight's episode, it's a lot of information. It's a lot of great guests. You don't want to miss an episode. So stay tapped in with us. We appreciate you all. We love you all. You already know it's the Fire Session. Peace.
Thank you for joining us today. Please follow us on all social media platforms. Just search Fire Session.